You know, it's the weekend, but it's still 7 o'clock.
No, babies have no respect. If you had a long night, they do not care.
Ours is up at 7:15 a.m. on the dot. You walk into his room, head's popped up. He's standing up. He's like, all right, come on.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going.
You good?
Yeah.
You ready?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's introduce our guests.
All right.
We have Sumita Anuj with Homebound Custom Decor.
You did it.
How's it going?
It's going great. How are you guys?
We're good. Can't complain.
I can, but I won't.
Yeah.
We're parents, you know.
Yep.
Yes.
Businesses. So there's a lot to
Complain about.
Mm-hmm.
But more on that on the life of
right. How are you guys doing?
We are good. We are hanging in there. We're getting ready for the holiday season, which I cannot believe is about to be.
I know. What was it? What was that meme that we saw the other day where it was like January, February, all the way to like
March,
April, and then it was like March, April. Yeah.
Seriously, the summer flew by. Now it's already September. There is Christmas decor up at Costco already, which that's crazy.
Yeah. Trees are up already.
Yeah.
For sale.
See that?
You know what else
they
is
need
up for
to
sale?
calm down.
12-foot skeletons are up for sale.
No.
That's what's
Why are you trying to sell? Why are you trying to sell my skeleton?
There's a limited supply, and we hear this is the last year. So if you guys are interested in 12-foot,
I saw that.
He's trying to sell He's trying to sell my new decor.
We've only used it for one season.
We haven't even taken it out of the box yet.
It's new in box.
Literally right there.
New in box.
I hear all the cool houses have the skeleton.
See?
We're not a cool house.
Yes, we are.
We'll be a cool house here. But if you want, prices are going high. Prices are going up.
That's what I mean. Like, they got to calm down, like, going to Christmas. Like, they got to give me my 2 months for Halloween.
And they didn't go fast enough.
Stop it.
I know. Well, and it puts a lot of pressure on us too, right? Like in the crafting industry, we're like, oh my gosh, do we need to go ahead and release Christmas to keep up? But
I mean, I guess it wouldn't hurt, you know, depending on if you have, like, if it's set up or if you want to, like, put those listings out. And if they sell, they sell. If they don't, you know, they don't. I know that there's a lot of like Etsy shops that have their ornaments up all year round. They never take them down, and they'll sell, like, they'll randomly get an order for ornaments in like March or May or January. So
I mean, luckily that's kind of a good idea because you don't have to necessarily keep them like in stock on their own.
Right.
You can use that acrylic for other projects or wood or whatever it is, whatever medium you use.
Right.
You can have it on hand for other things.
Yeah.
And as long as you keep having it coming in, then you're fine, and you just keep it up on the site year round.
Yeah.
So
how did you guys get into the laser industry?
Oh man, it's an interesting story. So I'll kind of tell it from my perspective, and I'll let her kind of chime in. So we, our business actually started. We started doing stamp books. I don't know if people have seen them, but you essentially take paperback books, you peel off the bind, and you stamp different things on the binds. You can stack them up, so you can do quotes or names or dates or lyrics. So I was on a business trip, and Sumita goes shopping. She goes to a boutique and comes home with these 3 stacks of books. And she's like, oh, look what I got. And I was like, oh, how much were they? And way overpriced. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I could have made you those. I like to be kind of crafty. My dad was also one of those people, like, I'm going to figure it out on my own first before asking them. I'm going to just learn how to do it. Yeah. So I was like, I could have made this. So I went to Michael's.
Well, they're basically like blocks of wood, right?
They're paperback books.
They're actually paperback wood. So later, Hobby Lobby kind of set the trend when they saw the books were really popular. They started making them out of wood, but the original product is repurposed books. So that was our whole philosophy, that you're saving a book that's going to be trashed, but turning it into purposeful decor.
Okay. Yeah.
So it started there, and then so I was like, you spent way too much. I'm sure we have some books around our house I could just use. Right. We had some books. I went to Michael's, got some stamp stuff, and I made her a set, and she was like, okay, yeah, I definitely overspent for this. You can definitely do this. And then one day she was like, let me throw this up on Facebook Marketplace, see if anybody wants to buy these. I mean, it's pretty easy for you to do. And we put up on Marketplace. Within a couple of days, we got a couple hits like, hey, I'm interested. Can you do this? Can you do this? And before we know it, we started selling these.
Yeah, we were, I think by the end of 2 weeks, we were like 50 or 60 orders deep.
Wow.
we were doing them from our kitchen counter right behind us. And we were meeting people at Whole Foods, opening up our trunk. And that's where people would have to pick up their order. We totally look like we're dealing drugs.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I look like that with my keychain thingies too. So little baggies, small items.
Yeah, yours come in like baggies too.
Which we love, by the way. We love those keychain thingies.
Yes.
You should see when they come in. It's like
they come in a huge, super taped up because they come from overseas.
We got a compartment, like we got a bag.
My God.
And I have
she makes me do it in my underwear.
Bunch of scales.
That's not suspicious.
I can't imagine when that goes through customs, or they're like, "What is this?"
Oh, right. How about when we went to the laser conference?
The conference. I was actually nervous.
Suitcase full of it.
I wrote a note and put it in the suitcase.
Not drugs. So in case you're smuggling, just put not drugs.
Yeah,
right.
That works.
Goes right through.
That's funny.
Okay. So back to you smuggling drugs in Whole Foods.
Right. So at least we were classy. We were at Whole Foods.
Right.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser tested and laser approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte, anything matte, and I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it.
Welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
Looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code Riley Black will take $50 off any order of $600 or more.
So we actually would meet customers there, and within a month or two, I think we were like, holy crap, we have a business here. So we came up with, a business name. At that time it was Homebound Custom Books, because that's all we offered. We didn't have the intelligence really to put together a website. So we did a free Google based website where people could just input their orders. And we would, I think they could process payment there as well, but it was very, very elementary, but it worked for about 6-7 months. And we actually grew our Instagram following. We started shipping nationwide, and we were doing all of this from one bedroom in our house, making thousands and thousands of books. So by the end of the first year, we were like, okay, I think we have a business here. We got a little bit more legitimate. We filed for an LLC. We opened a Shopify. So we looked a little bit more professional. And then later that year, we decided we wanted to introduce something new. And so Anuj had been doing a lot of research on laser engraving. And we thought, well, people like personalized stuff. Let's just buy this for cutting boards. That's all we wanted to do, just engrave cutting boards.
Right.
So we got a Glowforge. We did a Glowforge Pro because we, had big dreams that we were going to use the pass-through feature and make all these things. Yeah, never used it once. As soon as we started cutting boards, that took off. So we bought our first machine in August, and by December of that year, we had 3 Glowforge Pros in order to keep up with business. So, and all of these were in, our house again from one bedroom. So it was insane. At that point, we were shipping out 400 to 500 orders a month. We had people picking up their, orders from our porch. We did graduate from Whole Foods by then, and we were just having people come to our front porch.
Yeah.
But it was really intense. So then now we're about 1.5 years into the business. We decide, I got pregnant. So we decided, I think at this point, No, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
Jumping away.
We went from our bedroom to our basement. So we moved our operations into our basement because our Mira 9 was coming. So, after having 3 Glowforge Pros through one holiday season, it just wasn't cutting it.
Right.
We needed something faster. Literally.
Yeah, we had our issues with Glowforge, and they're like, we'll send you a refurbished one. And we're like, okay, we just bought this like 2 months ago. Fine.
Right. Well, and so was it due to the size of the machine that you didn't buy like a larger industrial machine earlier? Because I mean, for 3 Glowforge Pros, you can buy a pretty
I think it came down to the size, and then also with the Glowforge, what I was looking at was just more plug and play. It was easier.
For sure.
And I think another reason for us getting into the laser machines is I was doing all the stamp books myself.
Right.
It was just me stamping each book, and it was just getting very time consuming. So I was like, we need to pivot. So in addition to this 3 Glowforges, we were still doing the stamp books. We were trying to slowly cut back just because it was so much time. I was the only one doing them. The laser, Sumita was also running, and then we had some help at the time too that was also kind of doing it.
It was a big decision when we decided to stop the stamp books. We had to make a big announcement on our page, and we had to give everyone like a 2-month notice to get their orders in.
Right.
And then we phased that out and went laser only. But yes, you're right. The only reason, was because of space. Because at this point, we could have never foreseen that we would have moved out of our house and that this would have turned into like a full-fledged business and we'd have a warehouse. So we were like, well, the Mira 9 is probably the only one that can fit.
And so what were you, if you guys want to share, what were you guys doing? What were your jobs when the stamp books started?
So at that time, Anuj is in sales for a big yogurt company, and I was an attorney for a big fast food company. So we're very much into food. But so we were, love it. We were both working remotely. So we were working from home, which helped a lot. That's really the only way that we were able to sustain this, because we could, work during the day and then immediately kind of switch gears and and then during downtime, we could do work as well. So we actually, Anuj still has that same job. I actually got laid off a few months ago. So I'm trying to figure out kind of what my next steps are. But, for the whole last 3 years since we started our business, for the most part, we all had our corporate jobs as well.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, so wait, you're balancing both of those even after having your baby?
We were, So we had our baby last year, and that's at the same time we moved into our first warehouse. And at that point, we now have a Mira 9 and a Mira 7, and we recently added a Nova 14 and a second warehouse. So we have 2 warehouses, 3 machines. We still had 2 jobs and 1 baby. It kind of sounds like that Christmas song. Like,
right.
Partridge in a pear tree.
Right.
That's basically, and we, as of a couple of weeks ago, we recently just hired two employees to kind of help us out. So their job is solely fulfillment, packaging, prepping materials for laser engraving. So we'll go in there maybe once a week. Just kind of touch base. So they have a schedule. They come in and they kind of do all that stuff. But on the back end, I still handle kind of the financing, and then Sumita does all the social media and the marketing for it.
Yeah.
Right. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, scaling so high to the warehouse and to everything. How do you scale? Because normally people leave their job and commit to their to their company. How do you find the time? I mean, you got the 2 employees now. But how did you find the time balancing a baby, a warehouse, a growing business, plus your regular 9 to 5?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, well, first I'll start by saying we're very blessed to have a lot of family nearby, and both of our parents are very hands-on. So, our son's very lucky to have grandparents, and I think without them, we wouldn't be in the situation because at the drop of a hat, they're able to come and, help us and whatnot. But at the same time, being remote, working our corporate jobs, it did help us because a lot of times we would take our laptops and just work from the warehouse. So if we had a lot of jobs to run, the laser could be running in the background, but we could still be working without, sacrificing our quality of work for our day job. And I think if we had to go into an office every day, that probably wouldn't have been possible just because the amount of orders that we were processing on a monthly basis. But being remote really gave us that flexibility.
Yeah, I mean, so sorry, go ahead.
No, I think for me, still having my corporate job, and there's some months of my travel is heavy. If I'm sitting at the airport waiting for my flight, or I'm on the flight, I'll be there on the computer, like looking up what's trending or different materials to buy. So trying to find pockets of time, there's downtime to kind of help support. I've stepped back quite a bit now with our 2 employees kind of helping out. And to me, it's really kind of taking up the bulk of it, kind of focusing on this. But I think just finding different pockets, especially when our, 9 to 5 was over, it was, all right, let's jump right into this. And then, some days we would work late nights. And then some days we'd be like, you know what, we just need to call it at like 8:30 and just be done.
That was really important, like kind of listening to our bodies as well. And then also seeing what's going around us. Like we didn't want to look back and, miss, we're in our early 30s. So we didn't want to miss the fact that, we didn't hang out with our friends, or we didn't go to that birthday party, or we don't have that time with our son. So we put those things first, and then work kind of goes around that.
Right. Yeah. We had tried at one point to kind of push the physical products a little bit more to make, some additional like side money to, eventually maybe help him quit or whatever. But his job was outside of the home, and it just made it so that any free time he had, we were on the laser, and there was less time with the kids. There was like, it literally meant that there was zero time. And then while he was at work, I was with the kids, and we didn't have a lot of help from the grandparents. His mom was taking care of his grandmother, and my mom lives in another state. So we didn't have like the additional, and it was too much. And, you gotta do what you can with like the little pockets you have. And I mean, I was even telling him the other day, I struggle, like when I get sick, I either do too much or not enough. I'm still, even now, like 3-4 years in. No, is it like 5?
It's like 5.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost 6, I think. Because it
was 2018.
Yeah.
So that's 5.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. It'll be 5 in November. October,
Is that
November.
when you start?
Yeah. That's when I got my Glowforge. Yeah. But I was telling him like I was sick, last week or whatever. And I was like, I just don't know like how to, I guess, listen to my body, like you were saying, because I either like, and even when I say that I'm doing nothing, but I'm still like, if I get an inquiry on my Facebook or Instagram, I'm still answering those. I'm still looking for ideas. I'm still doing whatever I can from my phone. I'm still working. And like, we were still putting out like our keychain thingy orders. So I guess it wasn't nothing. I have to give myself a little bit of grace there. It wasn't 0, but even we were talking about it.
When you felt a little better, you will go ham.
Right. And then I
burn yourself out again, and then get sick again. And then
it was a good thing that we had that conversation the other day, because we had it. And then like 2 days later, I was feeling better.
And I worked for 3 hours.
And I worked all day. And then we like sat on the couch for like our time to like watch a show or two. And I'm like pulling over like the little table that I have near the couch to like start separating out like keychain thingies and stuff. And I was like, I'm so tired. I was like, but I feel like I need to do this. And he was like, remember the talk we had the other day?
No, you're absolutely right.
It's super important.
I think that was one of the bigger things too. Like, so we wanted to get the lasers out of the house before our son came, just because, we needed space. I don't know why such little things take up like so much space.
Right.
It's just all their stuff that they come with.
Oh my God, it's so much.
But we needed the space. We didn't necessarily want, we weren't quite sure if the ventilation was like the best, at the house. So we were like, okay, let's just get this out of here. We need more space for inventory. But that was also giving us the separation between like our personal life and our business life. Because when we're at the warehouse, we are, full on, we're very invested. We work really hard, but then we can turn that off when we come home, except yes, we're, of course, always on our phones and answering emails and stuff like that. But we have a whole nother side to our business, which is the laser education side. So that part, as you know, is very digital. So it's really important to constantly be, answering people's messages or assisting them if they need help. So that part I struggle with too, how to kind of turn that off and not getting to every DM or every Facebook message right when they respond, but it's hard.
Yeah. I don't know that I'll ever find that balance, even if we do move it outside of the house, because again, it's a pro and a con that everything is so accessible right now. And then there's certain things that you can do from your phone, but you probably shouldn't because it takes you twice as long and you don't realize it. Like there's I got a small laptop to try and do stuff, like try and do designs from my couch while I was like, you know, just hanging out with the kids and stuff. And it didn't work at all. And like it would kind of work, but like the screen was a whole lot smaller. I didn't have a mouse. Like, you know, I found myself spending way more time on a design than I would normally. And excuse me, I wasn't 100% focused because obviously I have to make sure my kids are good and alive and not getting into something. And, you know, now it's our podcast laptop. So, you know, it worked out, but it's difficult finding like when to stop and when to not. And then also, I mean, as you guys, I'm sure can probably relate, having the like husband and wife thing, like spending the time together for the business, like, sure, it's nice, but like at the same time, that's not like quality time with your spouse that, you know, so finding time, there's also those memes that are like finding the time to be healthy, eat well, spend time with your kids, you know, grow your business, grow your marriage or relationship, like balancing all of that is just like literally an everyday difficulty.
You're absolutely right.
It's hard. I think biggest thing for us was, you know, trying to find ways to scale back now that our son's here. You know, we don't want to lose out on those moments in time. So we're trying to think to ourselves, okay, you know, as he's super young, he's sleeping most of the time, so it's pretty easy. But now he's in daycare, he's so active. You know, we took him out today. Like, how do you find ways to not kind of, you know, be on the laptop working around him, like during our time with him, or, you know, on our phones answering emails or Instagram? Like, we're trying to find pockets of, okay, he's at school, he's away, we've got some downtime, we can do it now. When he comes home, it shuts off. It's our time with him.
And part of that was us also learning to let go of, you know, aspects of our business, because in my head, I'm like, no one's going to, you know, package this properly, or no one's going to know how to run the laser like we do. I mean, it's a machine. They can all learn just like we did. Right. But it's just your baby and it's your business. So you want to treat it with that care. But I think that was the biggest step for us. And once we kind of relinquish that to someone, now we realize the value of the help that they bring.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high-quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects, and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser ready blanks.
Yeah, there was one of the guys that you follow, he's like one of the motivational like business speakers. He said something about if you can hire someone to do it 70% as good as you do it, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And my perfectionist self is like, oh, 70%.
I need 100.
Yeah.
But it's hard because I'm like, and I'm such a perfectionist. It's even hard for me to pass stuff on to him. Like I'm a terrible, terrible delegator. And I know that if we want to grow, I'm going to have to eventually like let that stuff go. Like, you know, even the packaging stuff, I can let that go. You know, and it may take time, you know, there's going to be training. There can be some spot checks. There's going to be some bumps in the road, and you have to like, that's to be expected. Cause again, we're going to hire a human. So they're going to be human and make human mistakes, especially when they're new, but relinquishing that control is tough.
It is tough. And we help, you know, part of the business is the laser education, like I mentioned. And recently we hosted 2 meetups in Atlanta, and we, you know, initially kind of threw out the idea, we were like, let's see if anyone even wants to come. Does anyone even want to meet up? And the first one sold out pretty quickly. So we got really excited and we were like, oh my gosh, we have 30 people coming to our warehouse, and we had no agenda at the beginning.
Oh, no.
Because we just had not spent the time to do that. So we literally had to prioritize a day of, you know, what do other business owners want to hear about? And it's a lot of what we're talking about, right? How to balance your day, how to grow your business, how to get your product out of, you know, out there in front of more people. But it made us realize after the end of spending 3-4 hours with other laser, you know, owners that we're all struggling with the same thing. We're all just trying to balance like a million things at one time and be the best, you know, that we can be, while also trying to compete with each other.
Right.
You know, in a healthy way. So it's tough. And I don't know, like you said, I don't think we'll ever really have a balance, but we're just surviving.
You just got to try each day, right?
Yeah. No, and then my dad had a business for almost 35 years on his own that he, you know, found up. And he just recently retired 2 years ago. And when we got into this business, he's like, I'll tell you one thing, your own business is, no matter how much you make it, it's a 24/7 job. You will get a call on a random Sunday, even though you think you're good, because something happened or they have a question. You're never going to be totally off. Like even when we would go back and visit family overseas, he would get an international plan because he would get calls from his employees like, hey, what do I do here? Do I pay this invoice? Like, he's like, you're never off. You just got to find time to scale back as much as you can. But there will probably be one thing every day. Even if you don't, you will be thinking about something every day. About your business. It will pop up a thought, something.
I get the best ideas when I am laying in bed trying to fall asleep. And I remember one day when you brought up the hat rack idea.
Oh, right.
Literally, as we're laying in bed talking, about to go to sleep, and he was like, oh, could you make me a hat rack? And then my mind starts going crazy.
Good night.
Trying to, and he's like, good night. And he falls asleep in 5 seconds, if that. And I don't. But my son is too. He'll he'll put him to bed, and then I go in there afterwards to like say goodnight. And half the time, by the time I get from like the couch to his door, he's already like, oh, I almost fell asleep. And I'm like, great, have a whole bunch of these in the house that can fall asleep at the drop of that. But I get the best ideas, and then my brain doesn't shut off. And it's like, oh, we could do this, so we could do this, we could do this. I'm like, great, thanks, I won't sleep. I appreciate you giving me an idea at this time. But even if he doesn't, my brain will come up with it, and then, you know. So you're always
the same way. We'll send emails to our work email or our business email of ideas with the title in the subject, like you said, hat rack. If we come up with something, it's like, oh, you know, Akasha cutting board with this design. And then we're like, look, I'm like, Sumita, what is this? She's like, and then, oh, I just thought of this. And I'm like,
and sometimes it doesn't even make sense. Like 2 days ago, I sent an email that said, check JDS. And so the next day I woke up and I was like, check JDS for what?
For what?
Like, what did I send myself?
I was looking, I have this list on my phone that's like file ideas. Now, mind you, I haven't created a new file. I mean, I kind of created one a couple months ago for back to school for someone who had asked for one for a business that I like had collaborated with. But even before then, it was several months before that. But I haven't been like a solid file creator in probably over a year or two.
Yeah, about
at least. I still have lists of files that I want to create someday when I find that time. And the other day I was looking for an idea and I was looking at that list. Now, some of those are probably several years old. And I was like, what does that even, what is that? What was I talking about? I'm like, I got to write it down. And no idea where I was going with that.
I know, but at least you're writing it down, because otherwise you will forget 100%.
I know, it's crazy. Like it comes in and you literally have to jump on it in that second and hope that your note makes sense later. Because if you don't write it down, there's definitely no chance that you're going to remember, you know, that brilliant idea. And I mean, it's those ideas though that are just randomly born that are often like the thing that will take off for people or become their like niche item, or you know. So what is your product line right now? Because you guys don't like offer everything. Like you don't have like a friend who's like, oh, can you make me this random milestone or whatever?
Right. Yes, and we do have those friends who will ask everything. And we wish we could. I mean, there's just so many amazing things that you can make, and so many amazing file designers out there that we rely so heavily on, because we're not creative in, you know, that sphere. Like we don't have a lot of experience with Silhouette or Inkspace or all of the programs out there.
I can make you something in Microsoft Paint,
or
PowerPoint, but that's about it.
And no, seriously,
I remember I was so shocked when you guys were what were you using? PowerPoint?
PowerPoint, yeah.
That blew my mind when I found out you guys, because then, I mean, so my background is I bought a Silhouette Cameo to like make onesies for my first son. And then I learned, I self-taught myself like how to do Silhouette. And then I used Silhouette for the laser, which is why I was comfortable buying a laser, because I already knew the program, because I hated learning programs and I had one down. So it was good. But knowing that like you guys were doing your files for like the personalization of the names and stuff on PowerPoint, I was like, wait, what? That's resourceful.
Yeah, that's how we started, because we had no experience. And then we got introduced to the world of Etsy, where you can buy files and support other people who are good at it. So that's what we do now. But yeah, so we offer, the way that we like to describe it is we try to offer things that are easily giftable for any major occasion. So it may not be for, you know, every holiday, like we don't do Halloween, for example, or, you know, we sometimes will dabble with Easter, but we try to keep things consistent for, you know, the events that people are going to. So weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, you know, bachelorettes,
housewarmings, baby showers.
The things that we know will consistently be streamlined throughout the year, where we don't have to change our designs. We don't have to change the products. You know, we can keep the same inventory throughout the year. It just makes it easier and more efficient for us from an operational standpoint. But Christmas is obviously the exception, right? That's when we, you know, try to introduce new things, new designs. We're also of South Asian heritage. So there's a really big festival called Diwali that comes up in the fall as well. It's basically our New Year. So we do offer a big lineup for that, you know, as well. But otherwise, yes, there are a lot of cutting boards, coasters, tumblers, just things that we can also easily source. So we don't do a lot of assembling. We don't do any painting. If you like know how to paint. And so we try to stick with
That's why I use acrylic.
And then every now and then we'll pick up whatever's trendy, like the Stanley toppers right now are really trendy. So we picked up on that. But you know, it's not like an everyday life occasion, but it's just something that people want. And like, so we'll pick up on the trends, and, you know, we never take credit for them. We're like, oh, we saw some other thing they're doing that's trending. But I think Sumita's point, mainly just lifestyle, all life occasions that you can easily gift, and so that's memorable for someone.
Yeah. I think that's one mistake that a lot of, especially, I wouldn't say newer laser owners make, because I think doing a little bit of everything when you're brand new, unless you have like an idea of what you already want to do. Like when I was new, I was trying a little bit of everything, and it taught me what I liked and what I didn't like. And I didn't like making like the same thing over and over and over again. And so I realized, like, I would see like the people, they post about, you know, oh, I got a wholesale order for 500 of the same ornament. And I'm like, the money sounds great, but I would also be bored. It wouldn't be, if I did do something like that, I would have to find a way to be able to get like the creative side out, like maybe take a couple commissions or, you know, something like that. But I knew ahead of time that like that wasn't really where I wanted to go with it. But they make the mistake in doing everything or offering anything. And so that, you know, it's hard when you're in the beginning, because turning down an order when you maybe aren't necessarily making any money, or you need to pay off your laser, pay for materials, it's hard to say no. But, you know, when you're doing a sign for the first time, you don't necessarily know the best sealer, the best glue, the best processes, you know, that kind of stuff. And so if every project you're doing is brand new to you, you're learning something, but like you're not giving yourself enough time to perfect that item and get the production time, you know, it like at a good time, and, you know, have a system and all that kind of stuff. So it's good when you're like trying to figure out what you want to do maybe, or what you want to offer. But I know I've seen people say, you know, I do everything and I'm not getting any orders, or it's taking me forever and I can't figure out, you know, how to balance it all. And it's like, well, because, you know, you might be switching from some intricate sign to a Stanley topper to, you know, like 20 different things all over the place. And then there's no way to have a real production or, you know.
I also feel like it's important for you to be able to brand yourself, right? So I see all the time, like in my, you know, local mom groups on Facebook, someone will ask, hey, I need a personalized gift. Does anyone have any recommendations? And in the last 3 years, we've grown to be like the #1 company that's consistently, like, even before I can chime in to recommend our, you know, ourselves, there are like 7 or 8 moms who have already said, oh, if you need a cutting board or if you need a coaster, this is who you want to go to. So you become kind of branded as, okay, that is like the gifting company versus, well, I'm not really sure what they do. I think they do a little bit of everything.
Right.
You know, you kind of lose your sense of
brand. Well, I mean, it helps too with the customer. I know personally, if I'm given too many options, I'm overloaded. Yes. So if I go to, like, no knock at Casey and his stuff, but pattern ply, I can't handle it. Yes. My ADHD, my like, I have to choose from hundreds, if not thousands at this point, of patterns. And then I have to choose what's on the inside. And then I have to choose if I want to double side it, and I'm out. I can't. So for customers who are looking for like a gift and maybe they aren't quite sure what they want, if they go to your website and you offer like these core items, it's easier for them to choose. Oh, yes, I could see them, you know, really benefiting from a cutting board or coasters, or, oh yeah, that's right, she just got the new, you know, Stanley cup, and so she, you know, wants one of those toppers or something. It helps your customers too know what to order. And that's something I've tried to dial back on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have categories on our website as well. So like gifts for men, or housewarming gifts, or baby shower gifts. And I think that helps too, because, you know, when you're shopping, you may have already said, oh, I'm going to the housewarming, I'll just, you know, pick up some flowers. But now you're on the website and you're like, oh, wait, maybe I should grab this housewarming gift. And you weren't even thinking about it. So it kind of makes you think of what you know, may not know that you needed.
Right.
That's kind of what the Stanley toppers are, right? Like no one actually needs the Stanley topper, but it's just the marketing that is making you think that you need that. So that's what we kind of strive to do on our website too. Just make you see the potential that these products have for so many different occasions.
And I think something else that we've really kind of done as well, we've kind of scaled back our offerings versus like we have maybe like 3 or 4 different cutting boards, but offering different designs on that same board versus having 10 cutting boards with different things. Like pick your board, here's the design options. You have 3 or 4 to choose from, pick them, versus having so many different things. So that's something that we really kind of
leaving it up to them, because they don't know, or they come to you with a design maybe they saw on Pinterest or something, which there's no problem in that. But if you can't find a file for it, or you don't have a design background, now you're like, you know, you're like, oh, I can't create that. But then if you're like, oh, these are the 3 or 4 that I offer, you know, do any of these match like what you're looking for? You kind of give them, you know, something to go with, you know, because I remember a couple years ago when I was doing Christmas orders, and it was literally just, there were a lot of signs. So there were some similar items, but there were so many different things. It was impossible. Like, because I was like, oh, it's Christmas time. You know, not everybody wants the same thing. I didn't realize that I could steer people with a product line. And, you know, obviously you can steer what you choose for your product line for what is popular, and that will help it be more successful. But, you know, again, we don't do a lot of physical products right now, but we are going to offer them again for we typically do for Christmas. But directing them like, oh, you know, we have tumblers, can coolers, coasters, you know, that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, then they can think of, who can I purchase that for? Or what kind of gift can I knock off my list with those items? You know, especially friends and family, because they want to like support you, but then also, you know, they get to 2 birds with 1 stone. They get to get a gift and then also support, you know, their friend's business. And then it also helps you not lose your mind. And I was working until 3, 4 a.m. And then, you know, I don't know what time we had JR then. Yeah, because we moved. It was when we moved here.
I mean, there were nights that I would go to sleep. I would tap out and just go to sleep and leave you,
right?
You know, either cutting or designing something for somebody or tweaking things. Just because
and then waking up at I don't know what time, because I mean, well, he was good then. He didn't have daycare yet, so he slept till like 9.
Yeah.
So I would get at least a few hours. School ruined everything. School made him wake up at
9 a.m. sounds like so dreamy now.
It was dreamy. We were so lucky. He slept until around 9 o'clock until he started daycare at around 2. And once he started daycare at 2, and we had to drop him off like before 9. 9 was almost like the unofficial cutoff. And, you know, we obviously were paying for it, so we kind of wanted to get the most out of it.
Right.
And so we'd have to drop him off earlier. And then he started going to preschool, and that was at like 8.
Yep.
And that ruined everything.
Yep.
So
my man wakes up at 7 o'clock, no alarm.
On the dot. No matter what time.
Saturdays, Sundays, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, it feels it's the weekend, but it's still 7 o'clock.
No, babies have no respect. If you had a long night, they do not care.
Ours is up at 7:15 a.m. on the dot. You walk into his room, head's popped up. He's standing up. He's like, all right, come on.
Start the day.
Get out of here.
Well, and then the worst part is when they can get out of the bed themselves.
No. Oh.
Yeah, it's...
If you get a climber and you're not ready, crib tent.
That's the point we're at.
Crib tent.
So JR was in the crib until 3 or almost like right before
he never climbed out. He never tried to climb out.
No, he never tried to climb out ever. Even if he woke up before us, he would like wait. He'd be yelling at us, but he'd wait. But yeah, Jackson, no, we had to try all the things. He has a crib tent now. He's literally locked in there.
Yeah,
we didn't know that they existed until we
even did the sleep sack. So he was out of the sleep sack.
Yeah.
And he started putting his little leg up. So we put the sleep sack on so he couldn't get his leg up.
Yeah.
Well, then he figured out he figured out all I need is my knee up.
Oh my God.
Then I can like leverage on my knee. And then
we weren't ready for 2 kids that had free range. 1 kid is enough. Yeah, but then he comes every morning. This morning he came barreling. No, it wasn't this morning. I woke up and I went to go to the bathroom because your alarm had gone off. All the lights on were in the house.
Yeah. Because my man decided he wanted a color before school.
He drew himself a pair of Nikes.
And now he wants Nikes.
Oh, he's really manifesting it.
Right?
Yep. Vision was. He drew it, he colored it in, and he put it on the fridge.
And told us what color and everything. Yeah. Red, if you're shocked. His favorite color is blue, but I think he's
red and blue. He made 1 red, 1 blue.
he drew 2 shoes?
Yeah. Of course. He's got 2 feet.
Like one of each. 2 pairs.
2 per.
Knowing him, he probably wants a red and a blue, just 1 red and 1 blue.
He would totally wear them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves mixed matching shoes.
Which drives me crazy.
Yeah, which I'm like, go for it. I let him do it.
He'll probably ask you to make him something.
Not yet.
I mean, kind of. So he's kind of like a lot of my friends and family who don't really understand like what I make. Anytime I gift them anything, they're like, "Did you make this?" I remember I gifted my friend, I don't even remember what I gave her. It was way before lasers. I think I just had my vinyl machine at the time. And I gave her this like crazy, it was like a box that looked like a cupcake. So it had like all this like fabric on the top to like make it look like a cupcake or whatever. And like she was so amazed by the box and was like, "Did you make this?" And I'm like, "No." Like I probably could if I wanted to because I'm creative. But no, I bought that. That was worth the $5 and not $80 in 2 hours. Yeah, $80 in supplies and 2 hours of my time to make it. But so he's like great. He sees anything and he is like, "Oh, can you make this?" Or "Did you make this?" But he'll totally be the kid who's going to be like, "Can you make my friend?" Or my friends.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're going to be the cool mom that can make anything.
Yes.
I hope so. I'm also definitely the hot mess mom. Like, if I'm going to be the one dropping them off, he's the one who drops them off. So they don't get to see that version of me. But yeah, I'm still hot mess when I pick them up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
We all are. We all are. We show up to drop off like half in our pajamas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. I live in yoga pants and t-shirts, and most of my shirts are branding. So I'm pretty sure they're like, is that the same shirt?
They're like, what's the logo?
Might be. But I could change it and still going to be the same logo. So they're not going to have any.
That's too funny.
That's funny.
So now that you had the one warehouse and the second warehouse, like what are your like next like business goals, or are there some like, things that you want to meet in the next few years or next few months or anything like that?
Yeah. So the first biggest thing is, this can sound really silly. So our warehouses are right next to each other, literally the two doors, and there's a wall in between.
Yeah.
So right now, to go from one warehouse to the other, we have to literally go outside, go inside to the second. It's getting so annoying. So we've actually finally just got approved from the landlord to get a cutout for a door.
Oh, nice.
To connect it to make it one big warehouse, because it's taking a cart out there, bringing a cart back in. Like, it's just getting
right. Yeah.
So that's exciting for us. We have a fiber laser coming sometime this month. So we're excited for that, to get into some metals and really kind of cut back our time on just certain things, like the leather rats. It's like half the fiber laser and some other things as well. We do a lot of hats. We do bottle openers and all that stuff. But we're having that. And we have dabbled around with the idea of maybe a lot of our customer ask us for color. They're like, hey, I love your stuff outside of like a color powder coated tumbler. Can you give color? So we're potentially looking at UV printing.
Okay.
Our lineup. We're like looking into it. We haven't made any commitments yet, but
it's hard.
Holidays coming up. Like, do we have time to learn this new machine and run this and ink? We're going to be in a bind, but I think that would probably be the next steps.
I think it would make the most sense, in order to expand. We had looked at sublimation, and in full disclosure, we had actually purchased all of our sublimation equipment, and it sat there collecting dust for about 6 months because our laser business was keeping us so busy. We just could not invest the time to properly learn it. So we actually just made the decision last month to sell our sublimation equipment. We were like, if we haven't done it in 6 months, we're probably not going to do it. Right. So let's just sell it, get our investment back. And now we would rather put that maybe toward UV printing, like Anuj said. I think that would be something that would just give our, take our business to the next level, give, our customers. We did that with the stamp books, right? We went from stamp books to laser engraving, and that's how we were able to add more products. And now from laser engraving, we could go to UV printing. And I love that you can combine the two so well. People UV print on laserable items too. So it just seems like the next logical step. We have dabbled with embroidery as well. That just looks a little complicated to me. I don't know if
have you seen those crazy, like some of the machines, like especially we went to go pick up a screen printing order once, and they had like embroidery machine like right at the front of their like lobby area, and it was doing like 5 hats or something at a time,
something like that.
And all the different, like the string and the it was.
I just imagine like the string getting tangled, and that be like the worst, like way worse than having to contact Glowforge for support.
Exactly.
I don't know, but anyway, so that may be something down the road as well. And we have a lot of affiliate partnerships with, companies that we like using, of course, Eon being one of the largest. So that does keep us fairly busy. So I think that that's part of our business that we really want to continue growing, because we see the value in affiliate partnerships. And these are things that we stand, behind, and they're things that we actually use, which I think makes a huge difference. So that's part of the business that we want to grow as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's an easy, like, I don't know, transition, or an easy like payback. Typically I haven't found any that it costs more for the customer to buy. And it's like, it's an easy way for, us to get some additional like kickback when it's something we would do anyway. Like I would share Eon. I'm also a Save a Cup affiliate, and you are as well. But these are companies that I love, that I used for several months before I became an affiliate. With my anxiety, you can guarantee that I'd never share a company that I don't recommend, because I don't want that message that you bought some tumblers or some laser or something, and you're having all these issues. I remember when I was, not like everyone had a Glowforge referral code.
Right.
And anyone who would personally ask me before using my referral code, I would always let them know, like, please make sure you understand the limitations. There are some pros. Like, it was an amazing starter machine for me. It's the reason I'm even in this industry at all. You know, it has its purposes, but at the same time, please make sure that I'm going to tell you the things I didn't know or didn't think of before I bought it. So yeah, it's just another way to kind of get like a little bit back for, and a lot of that stuff we're doing like for free. You know, I'm sharing this on my Instagram or my Facebook or in one of the many groups that I help admin or moderate. And, you know, I'm doing it with the intention to help you, but then it also takes my time to formulate that post to, you know, get that information out there. And it's just an added bonus if you can get something back, you know, in the meeting.
And I think you're spot on. We're the same way. We wouldn't put a company forth that we didn't believe in or trust. Like, prime example, Glowforge reached out to us when they launched their Aura. I think it's called Aura, the new laser, and this whole email with, "I'll just send you this machine and promote it." And, you know, we respectfully declined it just because, you know, we Glowforge, how we got our start as well. But after seeing the reviews, it's a diode, it's super slow, and you can't cut certain things. We're just like, you know, we would rather have that person buy an actual Glowforge or just go straight to Ethan and get their, you know, spend a little bit more, but get your time, your investment, your worth.
It doesn't align with where your business is currently. Now, there's some people who have a strictly diode laser business that it makes sense for the products they're doing, what they're doing. I saw somebody, Uncharted Custom, Sam, who we had on previously, he just shared some like bottle toppers that he did on an X tool, and I'm pretty sure the X tool is a diode as well, but it was a small little item and it was super fast. Now, so there's uses for those that make sense for certain businesses, or if it is a hobby laser, or you're really just making, you know, small things for friends and family, or you have a small, you know, you have small products that you want to brand, or and you don't have room for a big laser. At the same time, paying, I don't know what it is, it's over $1,000 for a 6-watt diode. And that's the other thing that I don't necessarily love, is that they kind of hide that. It's unlike, so Eon, when you buy your Mira 9, you know it's a 80 watt, 90 watt, 100 watt. You choose that. You know what type of laser it is, because that's literally the name of it. Well, the Glowforge is a Glowforge Aura. And you have to like kind of dig for that 6-watt information, that it's a diode and not a CO2. And, you know, you don't know that stuff in the beginning. And that's really important, because 6-watt, you know, there's a lot of limitations in that. So yeah, you just got to make sure that if you get to that point to affiliate marketing, or, you know, at one time Xtool had reached out to us, and the machine they were offering me was not something I would ever use. So I declined it. It was like, that's not something I'll never get around to giving you the review that's probably going to be required. Once I do that review for you, I probably won't use it again, because again, it doesn't align with my business or what I want to do. And then it also didn't feel genuine to my followers that, oh, look, I got this free machine, go buy one, when I'm never going to use it myself.
It's such a fine line. And that's, I think we have a lot of affiliate partnerships now, but we try to limit it to one per category, right? So, you know, we do use a lot of vendors for acrylic, for example, but we're going to just choose the one that we have thought has provided the best customer service, the best product, because like you said, we just wouldn't feel good about it otherwise, right? So it's tough, because, you know, we are blessed in the laser community to have so many great options, so many, you know, different vendors to choose from, so many different laser companies to choose from, but you just have to choose what aligns best with your brand, for sure.
Do you have anything? So we typically ask, which again, it almost always comes up in the episode, but do you have any like advice for a new or struggling laser owner that we didn't necessarily cover maybe?
Definitely figure out venting, because you're not venting, you are going to run into some issues. We cut a bunch of acrylic because of these Stanley tags, and I think you gave me my feedback. I was like a little worried for a second because I thought, we have great venting and everything, but I think just the amount of fumes that acrylic puts out, we started feeling a little woozy.
Yeah. Well, and something people don't think about too, is even, which I had answered in your post, was that the material itself has some, even with perfect venting, you're going to have some off gassing from the actual item. More so with acrylic, I think. Well, I don't know, wood. If I cut wood now, I smell a campfire for days because I'm not accustomed to that smell. I use so much acrylic. But in your scraps will smell as well. Some people who are super sensitive, they actually take their scraps and they put them into a tub, because what people think with venting, again, it makes it this fine line to whether you have proper venting or not, is they expect kind of zero smell, and you can get close to that, but unless you're putting your scraps in something, you're keeping your lid closed for a minute or two after the cut. If the product isn't immediately leaving your warehouse, your home right away, then it's sitting there and it's gonna give a little bit off. So all of that all of that goes into it as well.
I agree.
And I would say for someone that's starting off with the lasers and new, and I wouldn't get discouraged if your sales are not right off the bat. You're just, hitting a home run in your first couple weeks or month. It takes time. You got to find your niche, your target market, what products work for you. Just because Stanley tags are working for us doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Right.
There's so much business to grow on. You just got to take some time to figure it out. And I think going back to what we said, and instead of offering everything under the sun, like when we started out, we just focused on cutting boards. It was the Webster cutting board. We still have today. We have 6 or 8 designs for that one board. And it's the same thing we've had for 3 years. And we probably could refresh our designs, but that's where we started. And we slowly
but if it's not broken, I mean, if it's still selling and it's still working, then,
it's working. I saw a post in one of the groups, I think yesterday, and it wasn't a rant. He was just saying, like, I see all these posts about, I paid off my laser in 2 weeks, and I made X amount this month. And he's like, I'm not discouraged. I'm not knocking on those people, but he's like, I don't want everyone to feel like discouraged or down because you're not at that level. I think.
Go ahead.
No, I think what he was trying to say is, there's, everyone will get there. Everybody is on their own path, different time. It's, you may be spending a ton of hours. Some people may get lucky and spend a few hours and get that same return. But I think there's just so much to get around. So just don't give up, and you're going to get.
Sorry, keep interrupting. You're going to what?
No, you're good. I said you're going to get there.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is that a lot of the people, it's a good point to bring up, because a lot of the people who listen to our podcast, we're going to have a lot of those people who did get like kind of a huge influx kind of in the beginning. So kind of like with your stamp books, where you're like, let's put this on Marketplace. And then all of a sudden you have 50 to 60 orders. Like, everyone who starts a business wishes for that start, but everyone's path isn't the same. There's so many factors that go into it. It's where you're marketing. Are you in a small town? Do you have to not go to Facebook Marketplace because you're in a small town, and going to just local, you're limiting yourself? And do you have help from grandparents? Do you not have help? Do you have a remote job? Do you not have a remote job? We all have different paths. We all have different experiences. And again, having your creative background and having made things and kind of doing things yourself, that probably helped you create a quality product early on, rather than where someone else, if they're just starting out with those stamp books, they may need to do them for a couple months to really get them to where they look great or have that quality, or, that kind of stuff. So comparing yourself, it can be dangerous, because you're not seeing all of what happened in the background. We're often not talking about how, even you or me, we're not often talking about like, oh, I tried these 4 items and they failed horribly. I try to be 100% like transparent and honest with what works and what doesn't work, but it's not something we do as often, you know? So there's still the struggles that we're all having, you know, behind the scenes, and even those successful people are having that you don't see. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, find your path, your way.
Yeah, and also when you see someone posting their wins and stuff like that, instead of taking that as a knock, you know, kind of start maybe following them and seeing like where are they posting that you're not. What is their engagement is like, you know, are they more active in the groups than you? You know, are they posting more in Instagram? Like kind of try to, you know, see what they're doing and try to mimic that without really like stealing like their style. It's because there's
funny you say because there's been people who follow
well, there's a fine line of following and mimicking, you know, because I mean, yeah, someone's doing this. So if you know, if like you see them and they're the Stanley toppers going crazy, now you're just pushing that, and then they move on to keychains and they blow up with keychains, and then you just like that's different than what I'm saying is I'm saying like look to see where like kind of like their business model almost instead of what they're exactly doing step for step. Look to see where they're posting, are they active, and this and that, and then just like kind of use that as a role model, maybe even reach out to them and ask them to be like not necessarily like an apprentice, but like hey, you know, you're killing it, I see you everywhere, this and that, you know, can you know, take me under your wing? I'm struggling in this aspect. How do you make time? You know, like that.
Well, I feel like that's a good segue into what they're going to offer. So don't let me forget.
I was just thinking.
But I have seen the people post in the groups and they're like, oh, I posted my Stanley toppers and I didn't get any sales. Because they'll see somebody, oh, I put one post up and I had 50. I woke up to 50 sales. Sometimes that's fake from a file designer just trying to get you to buy their file. So I don't do that, but some people do. But then they see that and they think, oh, it's just one post. And they'll post once, not get any hits, and then not post again. And that's also not going to, you know, get people to buy. I mean, there's been so many times where I have seen something repeatedly in my Instagram and I will ignore it for a good 50 times. And then they'll finally get me because each time they wore me down and then I finally bought it. I mean,
no, it's true. We spend a lot of time in the classes that we've taught for the last 2 years now. We spend so much time telling, you know, everyone, like you said, take inspiration from others in the community, but follow their lead in terms of what type of content they're posting. You know, we'll go into specifics of like what time is the best time to post, what platforms, you know, do better for certain products. We try to arm them with, you know, as much information as possible to be the most successful. But one thing I do notice is, you know, let's say, and I'll do it a lot too in the groups, I'll say, you know, hey, we bought this $10 cutting board and, you know, we're able to sell it for $50. So try it out, you know, if you have access to the cutting board. And the number one comment I'll get is, oh, no one in my, you know, community would pay that much. And it's true. You know, like you said, you may be in a small town and maybe no one will pay for it, but that's the power of social media, right? You're not limited to just your community. That's the power of e-commerce. You can sell nationwide. You could sell worldwide. So why limit yourself to a community that may not be able to support your price point? You know, test the waters and see if you can get more. And that's kind of the philosophy we have, you know, used, because we sell nationwide, so we don't have to worry about whether our community could support that or not.
Yeah, it's the price to the customer you want, not price to what your customer wants to pay.
Yes, exactly.
And we've had our fair shares of we've priced something way too high and it doesn't move, and we lowered the price and we fixed it, or we priced it way too low and we raised the price. We've had mess ups, or we've had tested products that just fail.
Like the Stanley topper, you know, to be honest, we did it on a whim because we thought we were pretty late to the game. We're like, okay, these are already popular. I don't think, you know, there's a point in us introducing them. And we were driving home from Anuja's parents' house one night and we were like, well, the baby's asleep in the car seat. Let's just swing by the warehouse and, you know, print one out really fast and try it. So I took some, you know, really crappy pictures on our front porch and I posted it, and it was a hit. We've sold like, I think over like 1,700 tags or something in the last couple of weeks. And what did I say?
That was driven by a large influencer just kind of taking.
Yeah, a large influencer did post it, but you know, that's my point. Like just take a chance on a product, it may fail. And I wanted to talk about pricing. So we started it out at $9 per tag. But then as we started making more and more and more, we're like, oh my gosh, this takes a long time, right? It's laborious and, you know, it's time consuming. So we slowly raised our price every couple of days. We went from 9 to 10 to 11, and we're now at $16 per tag. So we tested, you know, the water slowly, and it wasn't a dramatic price increase, but you know, that makes
you find, and I've talked about it before as far as pricing on the podcast, but if you get half the orders at twice the price, you still made the same money and you did half the work.
Yeah.
So you finding that price that people will pay that also make it worth your time to make it, you know, it can save you, you know, time and production that gives you more time to put into your business elsewhere, or to relax, or to spend that time with your family or whatever.
Exactly.
So talking about reaching out to someone that you see doing well, they are offering a discount on their mentoring calls that they're offering now. So all the listeners, what should we call them? The regular listeners, general admission listeners, they get 10% off with code Riley Black. And then obviously
the VIPs in Patreon at the Patreon table,
they get a higher discount.
Right. But you have to be Patreon to know how much you get.
So if you're not, go join.
Yep.
Right now.
$5? $4?
$4. How do you?
$4 a month.
$4 a month.
$4 a month, and you get discounts.
What's the top one?
Yeah.
Quiz time.
25.
Good job. What's the next one down? It's 12.
12.
He's just testing you.
Yeah.
Well, she knows she created them.
I did. Still, this cough did not exist until now.
Yeah, that's how it happens. And then it'll be done with right after we finish.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
So, extra time.
Absolutely.
So how do people find you?
So we a couple of different ways. We have a Facebook group that's dedicated for, you know, laser business owners. It's called Homebound Laser Learners. So if you join our Facebook group, we post a lot of behind the scenes content on how we process orders, how we, you know, handle our warehouse operations. If we find a cool product that has done really well for us, we'll talk about the specifics. So that's our Facebook learning group. We are on Instagram as well, just at Homebound Custom Decor. That's where we share all of our laser engraved products. So if you would like to gain some inspiration on things that, you know, have been working for us, feel free to join us there. And then, of course, we have our website, which is homeboundcustomdecor.com, and that's where you can find our mentoring session. This is something we actually just launched this morning, so the timing is really perfect. And you are the first discount code that is out there. So we're really excited about that. But it's basically a one-on-one session with us. It's an hour long, and it's no limitation. So you can ask about financials. You can ask about, you know, how we got started, very specific details on running a laser business. And we just want to, you know, if they have questions, we want to give answers. So it is a very open conversation on how we can help them grow their business.
Great.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
That's great. Well, thank you guys for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. This has been great.
This was fun. We could talk all night.
I know, right?
Well, you guys stay right there. But for our listeners and watchers, we'll be right back with our life update. And we're back. That was
Did you miss us?
No, because it was right back to back.
I know, that's true.
They don't know that we kept talking for like another half hour.
Right, half an hour, an hour. Yeah.
It happens all the time. This recording is super long. Every time I put it in the computer, like 4 hours. I'm like, we had a 4-hour podcast? Right. Who do we think we are? Joe Rogan?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, and then it gets down because we talk so much before and after. And then So this is the life update.
Yeah. Still sick, but getting better, I think. Yep. I mean, it's just it's a whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, we said it again on the podcast. I struggle with, you know, taking the rest, and then when I feel better, not doing too much. So I'm still just working on that. You know, because again, like the keychain thingies are doing great, and I have a bunch of new products that I want to get out, and you know, inventory that I need to go through and separate and add to the website. And there's only so much time in the day. So just finding that balance, but I am surviving and I feel okay. And I've had a good couple days like in a row. So that's been nice. So
and we found we knew how we were going to solve our venting. We
ordered it forever ago.
Right. We got windows installed on the garage door. So
we added a new panel. They took out the old panel at the top that didn't have any windows. And then this one has 4 windows across the top. And it was funny because one of the first days the first day we worked in here after they installed it, I was all like chipper and cheery because we work in a garage, so there's 0 windows. There's no windows. Even in our old 1-car garage, it had a tiny little window,
but not in the studio.
No, but I didn't work in there every day. The room I worked in every day had a window, and even though I had it closed most of the time, it was one of those shades that like lets the light in. So I still had some like sunlight coming in. And I didn't realize, I knew I missed it and I knew I wanted it after like a couple weeks working in here. But once the day was installed, I'm like, I don't know if it's just that I feel better,
right? Or you're also feeling like better.
Because it was like, or it's just the sunshine, or it's just both. But it was so nice, and like we could see the sky
so much brighter in here too.
Yeah, like I walk in here and I forgot to turn on the light until I walked like halfway in because it was just so much brighter.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, you guys are gonna know whether we recorded at night.
You might be able to tell
because.
Yeah, and we can get shades that go over it. I've already thought about that. But that panel is how we're going to hopefully vent
out of one of the windows, which means we're going to start offering physical products. Yeah. Again. Yeah. Probably tumblers.
Yeah. The things that I love to make. It's going to be the tumblers,
learn how to make it.
Keychains.
So there'll probably be a lot of reels.
Maybe some cutting boards. I'm going to go through all these blanks that I've had for literally a couple years. I'm going to start there first. And if I like making them, I'll order more. Right. If I don't like making them, then I sold them off and got to use them.
So if you want your peen board or your booby board personalized,
right? Let me know.
We'll be able to do that soon.
Yeah. Mostly for our friends and family, but and new neighbors.
Well, I mean,
maybe not peen boards
for
our new neighbors. That's true, but they have their own lasers.
Yeah. Doesn't mean they want to do it.
That's true.
They got other things.
I buy stuff all the time.
Listen, the holidays are coming up.
Their
lasers are busy working because the holidays are coming up.
Touche.
So there's that.
And what else?
I'm on the tail end of the marketing course. I've taken all the learning modules.
Some emails.
I've sent my first round of 10 emails. I've gotten one response that was a very nice no.
Very nice no. And it wasn't a hell no never.
No, it was a not right now.
Yeah.
It was a we're not right now, but we'll keep you in mind for the future.
We'll take it.
Take that. Yep. So it was only 10 emails that was sent out. But so I finished the course. There's a bunch of extra modules. There's a bunch of extra videos with it, but the actual modules of the marketing and everything is complete.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be offering what are called video business cards, which are very close to branding videos. To speak about your brand, about your company, what it is, and then
you should do one for me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because it happened.
We talked about
the
it
garage
before the course, because every time someone says, "What do you do?"
the garage people came, and it's like it's so hard for me to explain what I do. Right. So having a video that explains it for me would just be so much easier.
Right. Yeah. So there's that, and I mean that video can also be sent to, as an email blast to customers and everything, so that people can know what you do without. There's also another one that's called frequently asked questions videos where you answer frequently asked in a video form,
for the keychain thingies,
and then you send it out to all everyone who signed up to your email list, essentially.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of ways that video can solve more so than just reels and stuff like that. There actually you could put on your website.
Right.
I don't know how much it translates to Shopify website because it's e-commerce.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a landing page where you can throw.
Oh, there's totally. So in the layout, there's a place for me to put that kind of stuff.
So. And I don't have to come to you because for something like that, that's a talking head video. It's very simple. We can set up a Zoom and then do the interview that way. I'll record the Zoom, and then I would just have you record your workspace and, you know, give you essentially like a shot list type thing, and, you know, we can make stuff happen. Yeah.
Sorry, you're not tired. You're not boring.
I'm not boring.
You're not boring, but I'm so tired all of a sudden. It's like it hit me.
Yeah. So RileyBlackMedia.com and Riley Black Media Instagram.
So excited.
If you want to reach out and you know, get a quote, we can talk about how we can make video work for your company.
Yeah. Or if you know anybody who could benefit from his services too. Like any leads would be great, even if it's not like a hookup, just maybe you should reach out to you know, this person or whatever.
Exactly.
So because the hardest part sometimes is finding the people to reach out to in the first place.
Right. And again, they don't have to necessarily be super close, because there's a lot of things that can be done now virtually, and you know, and also, I mean, not, but it does come at a lesser price because I don't come out and shoot video. You shoot
save
the
some of the work
yourself. And then the downside is you do get, you know, I will give you a detailed like shot list and what to look for, and you know, and add whatever it is you want, but I am limited to that because I didn't shoot it myself. Essentially. And
then the last thing is Patreon.
Yes. Subscribe.
We need you guys to keep the light on. These lights on.
Keep the light on.
The light.
You know, you don't know how much wattage this LED takes.
So much. So if you could sign up for anywhere,
our electric bill has skyrocketed just for not these lights. These lights are okay.
This light but you can still subscribe anywhere $4 to $25.
Come on, $4 a month.
And I mean, you literally, I mean, it's that saying, you pay for like soccer and swimming lessons and that kind of stuff for our family. So it's we would love your support, and we'd love to keep going. We'd love to continue to have.
And hey, if you want
awesome guests,
a higher tier, it's fine too.
Yeah.
You don't have to just
send me money every month.
12,
that's fine.
25.
Yeah.
We have a lot of tiers for you guys to support.
Lots of options.
Yeah. And if you can't support that way, well, we got physical products coming up. So lots of ways to support the hustle.
Yes.
Thank you guys for watching, listening, and sticking with us all this time. It's been another great episode of the Riley Black. Crystal and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.